I am.
You're joining us now. Okay.
Well, good afternoon. I believe it's a little past noon today, and thank you for coming and joining us for the second time as we have cooking with HEB. Today I have a great recipe for you. It is a keto low-carb stir-fry. A couple different ingredients that you may or may not have used, and I want to explain a little bit about that. So let's take a look at some of these ingredients. One, I'm going to be using a extra virgin refined coconut oil. And the reason we use that is, number one, it has a high smoke temp, so it won't burn. The other side to that is, if you've ever heard the letters MCT in reference to an oil, it means medium chain triglyceride. And what that means is that your body chooses to burn the fat first before it burns anything else. And in this case, when you worry about eating too much fat, or maybe that fat goes to my hips or my backhand, then we use this because it will burn it. And it also becomes a metabolic change in your body to actually ramp up your ability to burn more fat. That's the reason we use this. The other thing we're going to be using, Shana, have you ever used coconut aminos?
Yes, those are my favorite.
These are great. So if you're someone who is like me, you're a little bit older than 29, and you're male, it's probably best to stay away from anything soy. The reason we do that is because sometimes soy promotes the absorption of estrogen in old people. And so we want to stay away from that. But the best part about the coconut aminos, man, does it taste good. Has a little bit of a sweet taste. So if you're thinking of, well, what does that kind of soy sauce taste like? Think of a little bit of Thai flavoring in there. That's what it does. And the other thing, and by the way, this one right here, and the next one I'm going to show you, this is almond butter. I don't know if you've eaten it or whether you use it. I use it primarily for cooking. And sometimes when my wife doesn't watch, I stick a spoon in there and eat it.
Right.
But she doesn't like that. I don't know why. But almond butter is a true nut butter. Whereas peanuts, are you ready? Do you know this one?
I don't know if I know this one.
Peanuts are not.
They're not nuts.
They're not nuts.
I did know this.
So they're not nuts. They're actually a legume.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they're called peanuts, do you know this one?
I don't know that.
Well, let me tell you about it. The reason they're called peanuts is when they were first created, they were originally called goober peas. Now, no one would come into the grocery store saying, hey, I'm looking for a jar of goober peas.
Yeah, no.
They changed the name to peanut, and it's not a nut. So it does have a little bit of inflammatory properties to it, and there are a lot of people that have some allergies. But we're going to use almond butter and coconut aminos for the base of this stir fry. And then the last thing I want to show you is salt. This is a Himalayan pink salt. There are several kinds you can get. You just want to make sure that when you buy a salt, are you listening? This is good. When you buy a salt, spend a little extra money. Get something that is mined, something that is not out of the ocean. And the only reason why I tell you that, and this is your judgment and up to your research, but we do know that the ocean is full of plastics. That's one of the big things that they talk about from the environmental standpoint. So if we're mining salt from the oceans, it is contaminated with microplastics. And we don't want that in our body. So we choose salts that have been mined. And in this case, this is a Himalayan pink salt, and we're going to use that. The other thing we're going to use is one of my favorite all times, asparagus. Now, if you've never had asparagus, you're missing a great treat. This thing is high in folate, so if you're a lady here, maybe you're even expecting or thinking about expecting folate, vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin A, magnesium, and lots of fiber. We're going to be using that, and we're also going to be using a red bell pepper. And have you ever seen red bell peppers grow?
No.
Well, you know what? They start out as green bell peppers, and over time, they ripen and turn to red bell peppers, which are a little sweeter than the green. And we're going to use these today. So how about we do this? Let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. The first thing we're going to do is we need to warm up our pan. So we're going to turn it on and we're going to get it going and we're going to add a little bit of our refined coconut oil. Now, look at this. Now, open your hand like this and let me show you how this, oh, see? It does not pour out now. If it was about 80 degrees in here, it would pour out everywhere. So we're going to add a little bit of this refined coconut oil to our pan, and it's going to get really, really hot. I brought napkins today for this reason.
Yes.
Now then, while that's warming up, let's cut a bell pepper. Do you know how to cut a bell pepper?
No.
Show me how you would start cutting a bell pepper. Just show me how you would start.
Because I'm not very kitchen trained, I would cut it like down the center. Is
Yes,
that right?
that is absolutely wrong.
Oh.
So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a bell pepper that just, now watch, are you watching?
I'm watching.
So we're going to go down the side like this,
Okay.
and then we're going to turn our knife. Are y'all watching this? And then we're going to keep turning it, and we're going to turn it some more until we get to the end. And there we have, does that look nice?
It does.
You can use it on your hand as a hand puppet.
That'd be
So,
cute.
but we're not going to do that today.
No.
We're actually going to cut this thing in half. Now watch, because we want to cut any of this, it's called pith. This has a little bitter taste. We want to take that out. And when you cut a bell pepper, do you know which side we cut it on? Which one would you choose?
I would choose the open side.
Very good, because that is exactly correct.
Yay.
Because number one, it's much easier to cut, but right here, this is the tough skin. And for some, if your knife isn't sharp, it'll slide off, and it can be kind of risky. So let's just cut this up a little bit. Now, what I do is you'll see I'll fold my fingers back when I cut, and I use my knuckles for a guide. That way I don't run the risk of cutting my fingertips off, because I still use those quite often. And you know, there are right things to do and there are wrong things to do in life as well as cooking. And I'm sure you all know that, but I want to tell you a story about me and my cousin David and my cousin Kenny. We were young, and like all young boys, we were deciding that, hey, it's boring, it's kind of rainy out. I bet there's stuff in the attic we've never seen. You ever been that curious?
Yeah.
Well, so we decided that we would go up there and take a look what's in the attic. So we pulled down the attic stairs. Those are the ones you reach up in the ceiling and you pull down. And we walked up and we got in the attic and we looked around and it was dark. And we didn't have any way to light anything. So we thought we'll just leave the stairwell open. And as we did, we left that stairwell open, and then we were sitting there, and I thought to myself, if you don't sit on something like a piece of wood, you might fall through. Well, I chose to sit on a piece of wood. I think they call that a beam in the house. And my cousin Kenny sat beside me, but my cousin David sat between the beams. Now, that little piece that's between the beams, we call that stuff sheetrock.
Right, okay.
And he sat on that sheetrock, and we were just talking and having a great time, Sheena. You wouldn't believe it. We were laughing and telling jokes, and all of a sudden, poof, David was no longer with us. Gone. Fell right through the roof. And I'm like, you have to do things the right way. And that's what we did today, was showing you how to cut a bell pepper. Now let's do this. We're going to do asparagus. Yeah. Some people call it asparagus, but that's not right. But if it makes your family happy, that's okay. So here's what I want you to do. These have already been washed. I've washed everything, even my hands. I washed those yesterday. No, not really. I washed them yesterday. No, not really. It was yesterday. So how do we know which part of the asparagus is good? How do you do that?
If it's green, right?
If it's green, that's almost right.
Oh.
So one of the things that's easy to do is take your asparagus, and we know this is a more fibrous part. and this is the more tender part. This is still edible. You just have to cut it in smaller pieces. But we're going to go with the tender parts today. Would you do me a favor and break us up about 6 of those?
Yes.
Just find that. Show me how you do that.
Okay. Oh,
well, that's doing real good. Let me show you another way.
Yeah.
Because if I do my fingers right here, it's always going to break right there.
Yes,
Okay.
Good.
So let's choose to grab it at both ends.
Okay.
Now let's bend it. Go. Look.
That was good.
That was a miracle right there. So we're going to break those other ones, and then we're going to cut these up, and then we're going to bring out something that's really, really nice to go with this. Very good.
Thank you. I'm on a roll now.
You are. You know what I think we're going to do? I think we're going to do, let's grab 2 more and do that.
Okay.
The next thing I'm going to be preparing is beef. Now, these are fillets. You don't have to use a fillet. But you want something that's super tender and super, super easy to cook. So that's what we're going to do. We have our bell pepper. We have our asparagus. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put them in our pan here and let them begin to cook and tenderize before we throw the meat in there. My pan is hot. And I can hear the sizzle. And then, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little salt to it because, well, salt makes everything good.
Right.
By the way, salt, pink salt, mine salt has all 84 trace minerals that your body needs. Salt sometimes is not our enemy. Sodium is. And you go, well, what's the difference? Well, sometimes in some foods, they add a sodium benzenate to it. There are other sodium products, and we don't want those. Actually, we need good salt. So I would encourage you to buy salt that has been mined. So we've got this going here. Look at this.
That's good.
I wish you could see just look how pretty that looks already. I'm going to get this going for you. It's all going to be good. Don't worry. We got this going. Now then, will you do me a favor?
I will.
Can we switch sides and let you keep this stirred and let me cut this beef up?
Yes, I'm going to go around.
That
so
will be awesome. While she's going around, I'm going to take this beef out. Now, let me see if you've watched and seen what we've done today. Now, we have taken the cutting board. What did we cut up first?
Bell pepper.
And then?
The asparagus.
The asparagus.
Right.
And why didn't we cut the meat up first?
Because of cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination. We don't want to, even though we're going to use everything on this board, we don't want to just take our meat and cut it up. First, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to cut up, this is going to be for our garnish. Now this right here we found we did not find it outside the door. I actually got these out of the produce department. We're going to take and cut the very tip off, and then we're going to cut up some little pieces here. And this is kind of going to be our garnish. We're not actually going to cook with this. We're going to have this a little bit on the raw side, but we like it because it's pretty. And pretty food is more edible food.
Right.
Unless it's plastic.
Yeah. Okay.
And in that case, it's really not tasty at all.
No.
So we've got that taken care of. We're going to put that right there. Excuse me while I grab a bowl. You go ahead and tell them what you're doing.
I am just stirring this around repeatedly because that's what Chuck told me to do.
You are doing so good.
Thank you.
Now we're going to take our garnish, set it to the side, and now I'm going to take one of these napkins here, and I'm going to wipe the onion off of my blade. And now we're going to do our fillets. Look how pretty that meat is right there. Very good. By the way, beef gets a bad rap. It has all essential amino acids contained in this product right here. Don't be afraid of beef. So we're going to take this and we're going to cut it. We're going to make sure we cut it kind of thin. See that right there? That's about as thick as we want it. That's maybe 1/4 of an inch. That's how we want it. So let's cut this. And I know that if I had sharper knives, I would have Shayna do this, but I don't want her to cut her finger off.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that her family would really much appreciate her having all of her fingers and not go to the hospital today.
That'd be cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep cutting this to get it thin. You know, that smells so good. Can you smell it?
Really good.
It does smell good. Well, we're about got this one cut. You guys just hang with us just a second. I've got that one cut. Look how pretty that is.
Good.
Don't that pretty? Now, we got one more here. Now, when I look at it, I see that there is one little ring here I don't want. So I'm going to take that off, and now I want to mash that down so I can get a better blade on it. So let's kind of get this going, speed this one up just a little bit, because I'm getting hungry.
Same.
I'm telling you, when it comes to food, I rarely shy away from it.
Yep.
It's one of those things, you know, without food, you just die.
Yeah.
You know?
You would.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So we're going to get our meat all done. Now then, you know what I'm going to do?
I'm ready.
This is the best part right here. We are going to put this in. And while that is in, I am going to change my gloves. And then what I want to do is sneak in here. I'm going to turn the temp up now.
Okay.
I'm going to sanitize my hands and get ready to put on another pair of gloves because that's sanitary. And then we're going to make our sauce.
Yeah.
Is this looking good so far?
It is looking
I really hope it is, and see how easy it is. Now listen, if you're here, you don't like beef, do chicken. If you don't like chicken, do pork. If you don't like either one, do it vegetarian. You can do whatever you want. I think this is great. And oh, by the way, our soy sauce that we're using, the coconut aminos, is vegetarian and vegan friendly. So it's our base that we're going to use when we use the almond butter. So you can very easily make this a vegan or vegetarian dish. Now then, if I could ever get these gloves, you remember last week when we were trying to put gloves on?
Yep.
Wow. I'm going to have to do some inventing. Spray on gloves.
Oh my God. What a
good
idea.
Wash your hands and you have a spray can and you just spray the glove on.
What a good idea.
I'm good with that. Now, I'm going to grab one more little bowl.
Okay.
While you tell them how that's coming along.
It's coming along really well. It smells really good. I really wish that smell-o-vision was real. We said that last week too.
It is. Smell-o-vision is a greatness.
It smells so good.
So we're going to take a little bit of our almond butter. I'm going to reach right under here, and I'm going to grab a spoon that I brought. And I'm going to grab a little bit of almond butter there. That's probably about a tablespoon. And then we are going to grab our coconut aminos, and we're going to add 1, 2, 3 teaspoons in there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to try to incorporate this just a little bit and move some of these goodies out of my way. And so as we get some of this all mashed up together, now when you put it in the pan, it's not going to be so much a liquid form. It's still going to be kind of a paste, but you're going to get it in there and it's going to be able to start clinging to those vital foods that we put in. That looks so good.
I did the whole thing alone.
It's amazing what you can do. And don't let Shayna fool you. She is a trained chef at home. And
I'm really good at making cereal.
Cereal is great now.
I'm really good at making that.
You know, one time I ate an entire box of Captain Crunch cereal. You know what happened?
Tell me.
The whole roof of my mouth bled.
Ooh, no.
So now let me show you this right here. If you can see, that right there is our almond butter and our coconut aminos mixed together. We're going to plop that right in there. Just take your little, and because we're through with that spoon. You did that so good.
Thank you.
Now then, let's get that all stirred up. Let me help you just a little. You don't mind if I help you just a little bit, do you?
No,
we're going to do this. We're going to do this right here just to get this going. Now.
Yeah. Yes.
You smell that?
Thank you.
Really good. And now you can see it's kind of coating
it smells
the
so
meat
good.
just a bit. And I think by the smell, I can tell that I want a little extra coconut amino. So I'm going to go with another teaspoon or two. We're going to put that. Oh, look at that. Can y'all smell that? It is so good. Now watch. This is done. Now at the edge of our pan, which is really going to be hard for you guys to see, I have some residual juices right here. Watch this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Cauliflower. This is our cauli rice. You can buy it, you can make it, you can do it frozen. So I'm going to add a little bit of this. And what this is going to do, this is going to absorb the remaining liquids in the pan.
I really can't wait to eat this.
This is so good.
I'm so excited.
This is finer than frog's hair.
That's
pretty fine.
That's pretty fine.
And you know, I like this so much. Now, and by the way, if you haven't noticed, which I hope you have, how many pans have we used? One. We're showing you how to do all of this at home. So easy. We're adding a little bit of our coconut aminos to our rice, cauliflower. We're going to stir it up. Now then, I think we got almost there, almost. Let me incorporate a little bit more. Guess what?
Is it done?
I think
Is it good news?
I think we are good news. And would you do me a favor? Would you get us a couple bowls prepped and ready so we can taste this?
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to take my gloves off.
Take your gloves and be sure and get us a couple forks to go with that.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
We're done. So we're going to turn off our fire. She's going to get us a couple bowls. And we're going to get ready to do. Let me do this right here, because you know what? I brought this for a reason. Let me just show you how pretty this looks.
It does look
So we're going to put our rice, cauliflower right here. Then, look at this. Look at this. This, anybody can do it. One pan, super, super great ingredients. Now, if you will, hand me the onion there.
Yes, we need our garnish.
We're just going to take that. We're going to dance that right on the top. Just a little bit more there. And I'm going to take my napkin. That one's trying to get away. I want this to look at least a little bit pretty for you guys.
So professional.
And this is our beef and asparagus stir fry. Let's taste it.
Yeah.
You know what?
Tell me what.
Let's serve some of that.
Yeah.
How about it? Let's see what we got here. Here's some for me. I know that you really, really like stir fry.
Yeah.
So let's give that a try right now.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Ready.
Smells so good.
It does smell really good. It's so good.
That is good.
It's so good.
You know what I wish I had to go with it? A little sriracha sauce.
Ooh, yeah.
But that right there, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you love it. Here's to next time.
We'll see you next week.